Hello, beautiful people. Here I am with an energetic update for you guys. I am sharing this with you or recording this on June 27th. So there's actually less than 48 hours before the lovely Capricorn full moon and the Mercury retrograde beginning its cycle in Cancer. And so that's what I want to focus in today at this moment. And it's likely that you have already been experiencing this energetic shift, this transit, these two transits. And I have been witnessing in my environment the emotional waves that people have been experiencing. I, for once, have been pretty stable and grounded. Like I felt myself in those places that potentially the emotions could overtake me, and I've been able to like find my solid ground or find my inner security. And I literally have to talk to myself, like talk myself through it and remind myself that you're safe, literally saying that, touching my belly or my heart, like you're safe to be here and you are secure. You're taken care of. You're divinely protected. And I have been doing a lot of yoga. Yoga has been the grounding force for myself, connecting with my body, allowing me energy to flow through my body. It might not be for everyone, but I do encourage some sort of active movement just to get the energy like flowing and not building up in certain places. And it's really beneficial as I've been talking about this a lot, maybe is to pay attention to where the emotion shows up in your body, as that will give you more information of what you're moving through. So if it's the heart, like I feel, and this is something I have been witnessing, there have been people experiencing having heart issues, right? Matters of the heart, whether it be actual physical matters, emotional things coming up, emotional vulnerability. I, as someone who has moon in Capricorn, have been experiencing that. I have been also for weeks now, have been really doing my best to open myself to receiving, which has to do with the heart in a sense, to receive love, to receive support, to receive whatever is in alignment for my highest and best at this time. Um, and I open my literally I've been doing yoga poses that where just like you open your chest or you're like, yeah, activating that heart chakra. So it's been the energy lately. And it makes sense because we are in Cancer season. We are about to have Mercury retrograde in Cancer, which from my experience with Cancer individuals, so that being either Cancer sun, moon, or rising, they have this natural ability to nurture, to take care of someone, something, or yeah, just they are natural nurturers. And with that in mind, they also tend to have challenges receiving that because it's like they have the ability, the intuition to know what is needed before it's even really a big issue, right? And so that also happens internally. And so it's like I just think about motherhood, and I had this conversation with someone not too long ago where it's like as a mom, it's hard to ask for help because it's like, especially when it comes to someone taking care of the child, because it's like you've had this intimate connection with this child since you were pregnant, then you have the baby, and then 9 times out of 10, you are on top of it and you're with that baby for the first 12 months. And especially if you're breastfeeding and all of that, and you're just very intimate and you have this unspoken bond, this energetic bond. And that's not to say the father doesn't either, but it's different. And so you know what the baby or what the child needs without them having to say something. It's like an energetic pheromone type um energetic connection. And so it's easier to just not ask for help or assistance with the child and just do what needs to happen, because it's like to express it, to put it into words, to break it down. Like sometimes you can't even break it down because, again, it's a pheromone or energetic type, like matter or issue or communication. And so to translate that into words and then hope that the person understands and follows like the guidance, the protocol, it's just like I might as well just do it myself. And I feel that for Cancer individuals, and this also relates to if you have the moon very close to the ascendant, um, that's a really significant signature of those individuals as well. And so that is what I'm kind of picking up for Mercury retrograde in Cancer, where this is the time where we're being guided to ask for help. Asking for help is literally everything. It's essential. It is just you even taking care of yourself by asking for that support. And this is absolutely a theme of Mercury retrograde in Cancer. And to emphasize that is the fact that the moon in Capricorn is going to be full on the day that Mercury stations retrograde. So, Capricorn moon, so intense internally. And it's said in traditional astrology that the moon, when the moon is in Capricorn, it's in exile. It is far away from its home. It's out of its comfort zone. It's like, especially in Capricorn, it's like cold and like could be, I don't know if sterile is the right word, but just like cold and rigid. And when we think about Cancer, it's like the mother, it's cozy, it's nurturing, it's comforting. It's like all your needs are getting met. You don't really have to ask. And so with the moon in Capricorn, that's intense. And so that's reflected within our emotions. And so for people who have the moon in Capricorn, such as myself, I can speak from my own experience that it's been, and it's still an ongoing journey. I've gotten so much better, but it has been such a journey to share my emotions, express my emotion, allow people to see me in my emotion because it's a matter of vulnerability. Those intense emotions, it feels like, like your boundaries, your protection, your shield, your guard is down, and it's incredibly vulnerable. And so it's easier to either experience those emotions in private, which I have been forever always the queen of crying in the shower. That's like my safe place, my sacred space to just let it all out. But I have been really pushing myself gently to just cry when I need to cry. But here's the thing, like I also don't want to answer anyone's questions because it's like at some point you are seen as the strong one, like people never see you really emotional. And so it's like when you begin to cry or you have an emotional outburst, people, don't know how to handle that. And then that makes me feel destabilized, right? I'm speaking from my own experience, but I know this of others too. And I really feel this with mothers. Like mothers generally, and not to discredit fathers, but mothers are generally the ones that, they are able to hold the space, hold it all together in the masculine, the father energy as well. Um, but it's like when the mother is in like expressing that deep emotion, it's just, it's intense. And that is also why, if you are familiar with Cancer energy, Cancer tends to retreat, right? They're known to retreat, to go into their shell, to go into isolation or hibernation when they are feeling away, like when they're feeling really moody. And that is to protect their sensitivity, to protect their heart, right? And so with both signs, Capricorn and Cancer, right, they're similar energies, but at two different ends of the spectrum. And that sensitivity, that vulnerability is key, is that's what they're learning, and they're learning how to navigate that in their own way. And so with Capricorn creates the structures, the boundaries, the laws, right, the definitions to create safety so that it can, hopefully, if it's in a balanced state, right, it can express its emotions, it can be vulnerable, it can be itself, in that safe space. And with Cancer is able to nurture and support and take care and create a safe space by being in tune with their emotions, by allowing others and themselves to flow through the different moods. And also, like, Cancer has to let that guard down as well. And I've seen, it's funny, I see a lot in social media regarding, you know, people coming after, or like Cancers getting pissed off and they get really like crazy and scary, which I was like, I don't really know any Cancers like that, but I just thought it was funny because it's like, they get to that point, like maybe they might get to that point where it's just like, this is the emotion you're going to see, or like, you never see the side, but watch out. And there's that mama bear energy is what I'm getting with that, right? So it's like, you don't really want to like piss a Cancer off because that mama bear energy can come out very strongly. And it can be, at some points due to really holding that in or holding that space. And when they are at capacity, or maybe something's threatening their baby or their creation, then it's like all of those emotions come up as, as a storm, right? As a wave. And so that is going to be reflected in Mercury retrograde. There is essentially, yeah, just the way we communicate, really allowing ourselves to share or find a sacred, supportive space to share our emotions through, to move through our emotion, allow yourself to feel, really check in with like, am I expressing my emotions? Like, I also get very like emotionally constipated where I'm like, oh, I have to cry, but I can't right now. Like, whether it be I just physically can't, or it's like, oh, I'm about to have dinner, or, I'm doing other things around people and I don't want them to see. And so I'm like, okay, well, why is that the case? Because it builds and it builds, and then it affects my nervous system, which tie in the Mercury aspect. And then I'm anxious, and then it's hard for me to settle. And so then that's when I personally have to do yoga and literally draw that energy out. Let me do some hip poses. Let me do some like heart opening poses to help to get that energy moving and to release itself. And so that's my takeaway for Mercury retrograde and Cancer is to, one, as I mentioned before with Cancer season, paying attention to how the emotions show up in your body, what they're communicating, pay attention to, even the narratives around what you are feeling. So it's like, okay, I feel really upset about this, especially if you're having this dialogue where like, I'm upset about this. And it's really silly not to be upset, right? It's really silly to be upset. Why am I upset? What do I have to believe to make myself upset about this? Is it true? Is it not true? And on the flip side, it's like, oh, I don't really care about this thing. Like, oh, well, that's interesting. I probably should care. Why don't I care? Is this true or is it not true? And that'll help us to really integrate the emotions. And also it kind of balances the mind and emotion aspect where it's like, okay, well, I don't really, this story that I'm telling that's making me feel this way isn't really true. So how do I change my actions to release that story, as it's not really true, right? And so that's one of the big things with Mercury retrograde that I would say pay attention to. Also, be gentle with the way you communicate. This is also a time to really lean into your internal dialogue and your intuition. So a lot of us, we're going to be having really strong, vivid dreams, and listen to what your dreams have to say, because it is your inner being, your subconscious communicating with you, and you can meet that energy head on and um, communicate with your inner being, like through your dreams, journal about it before you go to bed, or when you're laying in bed, just ask your dreaming self, your inner self, a question or guidance or healing. It might not even be something that needs a response. Maybe you would like an energetic healing, right? An energetic clearing. So asking for that. So this is a great time to connect with your inner self and strengthen your intuition. So any practices that will help you strengthen your intuition will be very potent at this time. And then with the full moon in Capricorn, yeah, the biggest thing is what I'm getting for that is honestly creating a safe space for yourself. so that you can start to be a little bit more vulnerable with yourself, with your emotions. Maybe, the first step is just getting it out of your body, out of your head, and speaking that to yourself, or having a conversation or journaling about it. Maybe doing a voice recording on your phone about how you're feeling, why you feel this way, and then listening back to it and see where does that show up in your body when you listen to it. That would be really helpful. Um, Let me just look at the chart to see if anything is standing out to me in reference to the full moon. So I can see that yeah, Mercury is already going to be retrograde by the time the full moon peaks, which is going to be at 7:56 p.m. Eastern time. And what I should just share the screen with you guys. So for those of you who enjoy looking at the chart, as I see what stands out to me, I put the chart on the screen. So the full moon peaks here, 7:56 p.m. Eastern time. And so we have the moon here in Capricorn. And so Jupiter here and Mercury will already be retrograde. Jupiter's not retrograde. I said that kind of confusing. Mercury is retrograde and Jupiter is 3 degrees away, barely. So they're conjunct. That's a very strong conjunction or alignment, which I love because Jupiter is a sign of comprehension. So this deep understanding that will broaden your perspective in a profound way, which creates that expansion, abundance, exploration, connection to a higher source of intelligence, especially with Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. And so that is really, really good for this full moon. That's a really good placement to have for the full moon in Capricorn and also the beginning of Mercury retrograde. So that will tie into the theme as well. And so there's an opportunity here for a deeper understanding of what I'm getting is your internal sense of self, your internal well being, you being at home within yourself, you creating a safe space for yourself, right? Starting from the inside out. That's really important. Um, and yeah, even, see, I love the synchronicity because it's like the moon is far away from home, right? It's in its opposite sign from home. And so it's like you can be opposite your home. You can be far away from your home. Star seeds, hello. Like, yes, we're here on Earth, we're human. This is where we're meant to be. But that connection to our galactic soul family is so strong. And that longing can be so strong, but you are strong and you will survive and thrive if you allow, right? And so this full moon can really help us starseed folks really tap into our sense of belonging, our sense of security and groundedness in earth, like really being in the body. Capricorn is one of those archetypes that is so focused on the physical aspect of this reality, right? Drawing the energies down to something tangible and practical. Like practicality is major for Capricorn. And so it's like really embodying your sense of being a physical being, while being connected to a higher source of intelligence, while opening your crown chakra, while opening your third eye and the throat, right? So I see with this energy for the full moon, there is a harmonizing of the upper chakras and the lower chakras, right? And that heart energy that I spoke about is that integration point. It is the connection between the lower chakras and the upper chakras. And so I really see that emphasized, and that's what's being communicated for this full moon. So really honoring that, especially as over here, if you see on the chart, we have Gemini here, and we have Uranus and Mars, and they're conjunct basically. So this means Mars just very soon entered into Gemini, which I should have noted that. But hey, I am free flowing with this. I was like, this is what I want to focus on. Mercury retrograde, Cancer, Capricorn full moon. And I'll do another video on something else. But now I'm seeing this here. It's like, okay, Mars is freshly in Gemini. It moved into Gemini probably the 28th. It's going to be my guess. or maybe early in the day, but I'm pretty sure it's June 28th. But nonetheless, Mars and Uranus are very close together, 3 degrees as well. Um, and so what this can really bring about is like very sporadic actions, desires, just very like surprising, disruptive, chaotic is like something that's coming through. Because when I think about Uranus and Mars, I'm kind of thinking about the Tower card. And so within a Gemini, that is the mind, right? That can also really speak to communications, right? So the way we're perceiving things and the way we're expressing and communicating them can be a little bit shocking for some people, for ourselves. Our actions might be any illuminations, any realizations that might come through at this day with the full moon and initiating Mercury retrograde. Like it might change our direction of action, or our plan of action is what's coming through. So be aware of that. And you can work in alignment with this energy if you decide to, do some candle work or write and speak aloud, whatever feels aligned for you. But it's like, I want to break this pattern from here moving forward. I'm breaking this pattern, this belief, this narrative. I'm no longer acting in alignment with whatever this limiting belief is, right? So you can set that, like make that declaration for yourself and allow the energy to unfold and shift and direct you into where you are meant to be, right? Um, so I think this is what's standing out to me right now. I mean, I could really go deeper with the chart, but I'm just going to save myself. I feel so good with this share here today. And there's likely that there will be more. But I also want to share that the next episode of my podcast with my co host, Alexis, we are going to be talking about Mercury retrograde and its influence in the dream space, specifically this Mercury retrograde in Cancer. And we'll talk about what it means to have Mercury retrograde in your birth chart and what it means when you have natal Mercury retrograde in your birth chart and then Mercury's retrograde. And I also just want to add, if you have Mercury in any of the cardinal signs, so that's Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, and Aries, if you have Mercury in those signs, then this is going to be a very dynamic Mercury journey, Mercury retrograde for you. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next videos, and I will be here very soon, probably within the week. But thank you. Like the video, please subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.